Hello, everybody, and welcome to this new edition of GM Web3 dedicated to MultiversX, like every Wednesday in the morning, 9 a.m. UTC, live on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Twitch. So if you don't follow us, please do it right now. Actually, seems like there is a problem of connection, a lag between my. Cam and my sound. Tell me in the comment if the problem is really important so I can disconnect and reconnect just after. Yeah, okay, it works normally. So thank you very much. Hello, Joachim. Maybe you'll be able to join during the show. I was saying, so if you don't follow us on YouTube, on Twitch, or obviously on Twitter, so do it and now to miss, not to miss any show. And today we'll have a very interesting discussion about MultiversX news, upgrade projects, and so on. And for this, I'll be joined by my dear co-host. I'll just wait him to sit. Hello, Arno. What's up, brother?
Hello, brother. Good. A super good mood.
Great.
We're ready to bring some good vibes.
That's why we're here. I'm very happy. And we'll be, of course, joined by our dear friend, Philip. Hey, Philip, what's up?
Hey, guys. Good morning. Nice to be there with you. Long time no see, but a lot of things to discuss. So that would be nice. Nice to be there.
Yeah,
And welcome, everybody.
You know what, guys? Just a few minutes ago, I had no clue what we will speak about this morning. So I searched for an interesting topic to discuss with you, and I found 4 of them. So you will discover them with me.
Classic.
Guys from the audience, of course, feel free to ask your questions in the chat. We'll try to answer the best way possible. So here is the program. First of all, Arno, I will make you work. I want you to tell us about the 11th upgrade of Hatom protocol, and especially the cross-chain ambition. Many people talked about it, so we'll have a chat about it. After, I would like to speak about Andromeda upgrade, which testnet is tomorrow. And Fibit, you told me that you worked on it, you did your homework, so it will be interesting for the audience to understand what is this upgrade. It's not you will tell us about it, but it's not just decreasing the finality time. It's much more complex. So you'll tell us about it. I'm really looking forward. After that, we will receive Davey Crypto to speak about the ambassador program, which was launched just a few days ago. We leaked it without knowing it before last Wednesday, but now it's official. It's released. So we'll speak about him, about this new program. And at the end of the show, if we have time, I hope we'll speak about what happened, on the crypto.com blockchain, the Crow blockchain, who decided to reissue part of the token who were burned before. And so the supply has increased a lot, 70%, with the vote of the community, but we'll speak about it. And so the question will be, would it be a good thing for MultiversX to increase the supply? We spoke about it a few weeks ago when Benjamin talked about a massive change of the tokenomics, and it's interesting to discuss about what could be the benefit, what could be the disadvantages of such a decision. So I will be happy to have your opinion about this, and maybe Joachim can join about this, because I know he has a pretty good take about this too. So that's the program of today. Do you like it, guys?
Sounds great, man. A lot of things to do. I hope we have time to do everything in 2 hours. Like it's always that's the challenge at the end of the time.
We'll try. No, count on me to limit the time, but we'll try our best. So before we start, I would like to thank our sponsors of today. And first of all, Hatom protocol. So we'll speak about Hatom later. But what is Hatom? Hatom is a protocol on which you can make your crypto work. You can store your crypto safely. You can generate passive incomes. And they recently launched the first native stablecoin on MultiversX. And what is interesting is with this stablecoin, you can generate very, very big returns. And yeah, so feel free to visit the protocol and to take advantage of these financial opportunities before it's gone. Because for now, it's just on MultiversX, but maybe it will open to many other ecosystems. So for now, it's just for MultiversX guys. So come on MultiversX and enjoy the profit of it. And they, Hatom and eApes, our second sponsor, are offering $30 in crypto to be shared between two people. And for this, all you have to do is to retweet the X Spaces and to comment. I'll be chosen the two best comment by the end of the day, and I will announce the two winners. And you can, of course, find the link of Hatom protocol and eApes on the description of the video, YouTube, and on the podcast. Sorry, I just opened the door to my cat who wanted to go.
I feel you, man. I feel you. Don't worry. That happens.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to take my shower.
Okay, I take you with me to the bathroom. I told you this morning we are chill. I know we have some demand to do a GM Web3 MultiversX in French, but you know, guys, MultiversX is American now. So
and French is difficult, man.
No, actually, to be honest, I've been thinking about it to make one show per week in French for the French community dedicated to MultiversX. But there are many things to consider. And first of all, I already spend 15 hours a week live. So if I need to add 1 or 2 more hours, we need to schedule this. And I think it's a big challenge for the French community because we are, definitely part of the MultiversX community. But maybe we need to wait for more or better marketing from MultiversX to attract more people because these shows take a lot of time to be organized. So yeah, but I'm thinking about it, and maybe it will come sooner than you think. But yeah, okay. I took the point. Guys, so let's start. Arno, it was not planned, but I'm sure that you know what is this 11th upgrade about. So can you tell us about it? What's the main change? And of course, I will have question about the cross-chain ambition of Hatom, because I asked you the question first day we met when Hatom cross-chain. So now it's official. This is something that will happen. I give you the mic.
So just so we make this clear, you want to go through the full protocol update, or you just want to talk about the cross-chain expansion?
No, we can speak about the main things, but I will make a focus on the expansion cross-chain, because in my opinion, it's the most important part, but maybe it's not. You know, I have a very biased vision, so feel free to tell us of the important things.
You love new and shiny objects, so this was obviously the newest and shiniest object in the list. So, but we've shared several important inputs in this update. Let me try to be as thorough as possible, and you'll double click on what you want. So, one first part that we talked about in this protocol update was USH. Without re-saying exactly what's in this protocol update, I think USH is a new primitive on MultiversX, because we don't have native decentralized stablecoins. We didn't have anyone prior to USH. And when you think about it, you go on multiple blockchains and you don't have many ecosystems that have decentralized stablecoins. You have them on Ethereum, but otherwise, there are not many blockchains. It's more centralized stablecoins, USDC, USDT, everywhere. So USH was launched on MultiversX, and we've seen that it has caught a lot of attention, both in good and less good conversations, because the main reason is it's new, it's a brutal innovation, and we all have to adapt, learn how it works, how to use it in the best way. And at Hatom, we are super happy with the launch of USH because it got used. Some might say even a bit too much, but that's not a bad problem. So this was the first part of the protocol update. We highlighted the incredible impact that USH has had and still has on the ecosystem. There are some metrics in there, so I won't go into all of them, but
now USH is worth $1, so it's done.
Yes, so USH is pegged. So when you consider the fact that a stablecoin like Aave, Go, or DAI, in the first months, they had issues being pegged, USH has been pegged in the matter of 6 days. It's holding its peg.
It was expected. I mean, it's normal that for launch of a stable coin like that, it's normal that at the beginning you have some uncertainty. So it was expected. I mean, like, let's be fair.
Yeah, 100%. Especially that technically, when you launch a stable coin like USH, when you want to create LPs, you usually mint USH and then sell half of it to create the LP with another asset. So you're putting big sell pressure on the coin within the first days. So it was completely expected on our end, but today we see that the peg is
and
good,
we had some comprehension issues around redemption mechanisms. So now, with all the effort that you put about education, I saw all the Hatom core team members and ambassadors, and even here on GM Web3, we've tried to explain this mechanism. Do you think now the community, well, in general, understood it? And I think you also, and you showed us last week, that it's even easier to understand on the front end. So this is something that is okay now?
I don't know. It's a hard question to answer because every day I'm not going to, to depict a reality that is not true.
Yeah, that's not what I'm asking, of course.
Yeah. So every day we have people in our community channels asking about redemption, discovering about redemption. And so it is an ongoing effort. I would say that for the people who are the most involved, they now understand. Most likely all of those people who are involved daily into DeFi on MultiversX, they have an understanding of redemption. We are not trying to hide. If people have questions, we answer those questions. People wanting to get involved, we absolutely, you pinpointed it. We built the redemption dashboard so that people could see the addresses that were going to be targeted by the redemption. We built this dashboard so that people can take part in the redemption, also help stabilize USH and make some money and out of it. So it is always an ongoing effort. And yeah.
Okay, it's clear. So we have a different part of the update. So maybe I will give you the topics and I will let you explain. First, let's speak about the expansion cross-chain. And after, we'll speak about the new utilities of HTM. We'll speak about the airdrop and the perspective and the strategy. So first, Tell us about the expansion cross-chain. So what the idea before, which are the blockchain that you're targeting at the moment, and why them? That's, I think, the question the audience is asking.
Yeah. So Hatom has been on MultiversX and exclusively on MultiversX, bringing tools, creating tools that were not available, that we didn't have prior. And now what's important with the cross-chain expansion is to bring our presence into EVM chains. Why is this? It's because on EVM, in the EVM chains, you have the most liquidity currently. And once you put a foot in the EVM chains, you can then adapt quickly to the latest trends in this specific ecosystem. It is a hard choice to select the best chain to go out there, because we often say that liquidity is king, and so trying to attract liquidity from historical players is very, very hard. So that's why we took some time to select EVM ecosystems and EVM chains that are forming waves, like not established waves where you already have big established players. It's going to be, let's be clear, very hard to compete for the liquidity, but rather go into a newer upcoming ecosystem or ecosystems and be from in there right from the start, competing for user attention before they have their habits. So this is our logic, and it is an important part for Hatom because it's part of the ambition to not have Hatom just on one ecosystem, but on several, so that our different protocols can synergize and bring strength to each other, because this is what is going to happen through the model that we have built over the years. And HTM will be the great unifier between all those protocols, because there won't be more HTM tokens. So if you're a bit accustomed to how Hatom functions, having HTM on several ecosystems being used to enhance several TVLs is actually a great booster for the whole of the protocols.
Okay, so you were targeted two blockchain. You named them Monad and Mega ETH. Do you know these blockchains? I think you do. Why did you choose these ones? Because they are pretty much new, because the DeFi ecosystem is pretty early, or is it about the potential? And why not start in well-established blockchain first? It's a rhetorical question, but maybe for the audience it's interesting.
Yes, so we have several criteria when we look at potential chains we could go for. The main one, I told it in just previously, is we don't want to go into a historical chain with established players, because then trying to attract liquidity from those players is like doing it on hard mode, like ultra hard mode. We've
it's
seen
like, it would be very expensive in terms of marketing, and also maybe you would not have at the moment, because proxy is not live, but you would not have maybe the killer feature that changed the game. No,
it is you definitely spot on some of the reasoning, but the main one is it is extremely hard to compete for liquidity in historical chains. So
yeah, because you need
the
to
biggest
you
the
need
best
to
example is if I ask you, humans are creatures of habits, especially when trust comes in. So in our lives, you have several parts that require immense trust. Money is one of them. Everything that touches, so it's like, once you have found a good hairdresser, you don't change. You don't want to go for the risk of learning.
except if your current hairdresser dies or fails,
Exactly.
or if a new one comes with a like great new and best thing.
Yeah, but it would only work if you have someone that you trust vouching for this new hairdresser, saying, look how it looks on me, and by the way, I'm not the only one, and you should go there, it's safe.
So you need the first to tell the others. Okay.
Exactly. It works the same. Basically, in the DeFi space, you're competing on two core features. First, number one, safety. Second, the yield.
Yeah, definitely.
So
before we continue, because we'll spend more time about it, I would like to introduce Davey. Hey, Davey, what's up?
Hey guys, great to be here. How is it going?
Very good. Many topics today. We'll speak. I don't know if you were there at the beginning for the program, so let me tell you again. So now we're just speaking about Hatom upgrade. So feel free to intervene if you want to add anything. After we speak about Andromeda upgrade. After it will be about ambassador program. So I'm glad you're here to speak about it, because you're the one of the first ambassador of this program. And last topic of the day will be about the potential increase of the max supply of EGLD, like what's happening differently, but pretty much the same about blockchain crypto.com. Different, but analogize possible. So Arno, let's go back to Hatom. So why Monad? Why Mega ETH? Do you know this ecosystem, and what did you like in this? Because Mega ETH, I think it's not even launched.
Yeah, so full transparency here, we have a team that is dedicated to researching those where to expand. It's been going on for some time, and full transparency, I'm not part of that team because I'm focusing on other areas. So the technical reasoning behind, so I can tell you the final substance.
I want these guys. Who are there?
Well, there's one issue, is one of those guys is obviously Foudre, and as you know, he doesn't like to speak English. So
okay, so you tell me, I will have to invite him in French. Okay.
you can have him, but also, I mean, if you want to deep dive into cross-chain expansion, we can make sure that Ahmed comes and talks about it. But mainly, when it comes down to reasoning as to where do we want to go, is understanding where the EVM ecosystem is headed, why those upcoming chains have a chance to not only have a good start, but also have a good retention. Because in the EVM ecosystem, you have new chains very often, and the issue is attracting new liquidity and builders right from the start is something that is doable, but retaining that over time is not always easy. So you see many EVM chains launching, attracting, growing their TVL, and 6 months after, the TVL has lowered by 10x. So our understanding of Monad and Mega ETH is that, and we don't have a crystal ball, but those have very promising developer ecosystem and product ecosystem already right now when they're not launched. So we believe that they will have a good retention trajectory, and we want to be a part of this.
And in this cross-chain ambition, we cannot not speak about Soul, which is another product by the same team, which will manage and which will I don't know how to say, but allow interoperability between these different external chains and protocol. Are you on Soul development, and is there anything you can tell us today about this, or is it still early?
What is exactly your question?
I don't know. What can you tell us about Soul in this cross-chain ambition?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to ask a question regarding that. So if I can add something, I mean, like the thing is, like Souls was supposed to be, let's say, the flagship for cross-chain and like chain agnostic protocol. I see that Hatom is doing the step to do it with his new upgrade. And what will be, in fact, the synergy between both, and which responsibility will be on which side at the end? From a user perspective, should I go and put it on Hatom, or there will be something later on released by Soul, or they will build on each other?
So it's two different topics. Let's not mix up cross-chain and omni-chain, because those are two different things. Soul is, if we had to put terms, is an omni-chain protocol, meaning that you use Soul, it's like you're using all the lending protocols across all chains,
like an aggregator,
through one interface. So you will have one omni-chain account, and you can be using your liquidity on Aave Ethereum and activating your collateral that is on this protocol, on this chain, on Hatom MultiversX, without even using technically the UI of Hatom MultiversX. So you would be still in the Soul UI. It is one omni-chain account to activate your liquidity across all the different protocols Soul will be built upon. And it's not, your liquidity is not bridged. So it's not a cross-chain, it is an omni-chain. Whereas the Hatom protocol, we are deploying the protocol on another chain. So it would be two different liquidity, and you would have certain opportunities on MultiversX chain, and you would have other opportunities on Monad, for example. So Soul complements greatly all this, but there are two different protocols with two different value propositions.
Okay. I think we're good about this. Let's speak about the expanding of the usefulness of HTM. So I saw there will be new functionality like direct conversion, additional bonuses, and potential. There's a big potential of purchase of HTM through these new utilities for HTM. Can you tell us about it?
So today, when you use Hatom protocol, let's say that you have some extra money and USDC, for example, you come on Hatom and you lend it. If you have some HTM token, you can lock the HTM token in a module that is called the booster. And the booster will add extra yield to your lending position. Basically, it's Hatom redistributing part of its revenue as the people using Hatom protocol and using the booster. So this revenue that comes from the various products within Hatom is used to buy back HTM from the open market. And then HTM is redistributed through the booster. So this is the current status. So basically, if you understand the mechanism, the more people use Hatom, the more people want the best yields and they're going to lock up HTM, the more revenue the protocol will generate, and the more buyback pressure on HTM will happen. That's the current status. We have looked into more ways to add bigger buyback pressure on HTM. And so this feature that you're talking about is basically a system to have all the rewards that get into your position to buy back HTM. So let me let me try to explain it simply. So when you have when you're lending some USDC, part of your rewards are getting instantly put into your lending position. It is based on the interest that you're getting from people borrowing your money. What we create with this feature is that when people pay the interest to you, this in the money that you have lent, so in this case USDC, if you want to use this feature, this USDC will be transformed, swapped into HTM, and given as rewards to you in HTM. So by doing this, we add more buying pressure to HTM. So that's the system of this new feature. So basically, we found a new way to add more buying pressure on top of the booster to the HTM token. And then you can do whatever you want. You know, it's similar to the booster rewards. You can then transfer this HTM, swap it for either stake it, keep it, or swap it. It would be the same, but it would add more buying pressure to the token. Philip, was it clear? Did you understand?
I mean, I understand part of it. I mean, after it's not like I spend a lot of time on the Hatom network and listening on all the questions and all the things. I mean, me, I saw, for example, as a user that my USDC reward have been turned into HTM. So that was clear that at the end, now you have a buying process like to buy back the HTM with the revenue. So that's fine. After it's more like the way on going on other chain. If there will be more mint, if the market cap will evolve also over the time, if it will be bridged from MultiversX directly to the other chain or mint directly.
We're
yeah, I know. I have more. I mean, I go a little
different topic there, but
let's focus
if
on
it's
the
about
the new utilities because we're out of time, and I would like to speak about the airdrop because people wants to know about it. I read it would be started mid April. Can you tell us about this airdrop, Arno, please?
So basically, regarding the date, you have it. So the starting mid-April, we are going to start sending to people the airdrop. So the airdrop will be fractioned in 6 slices, distributed over 6 months. So what will happen with this airdrop? We try to think on how can we airdrop to people a passive income generating product. So basically, what you're going to receive is an LP USH USDC that will be generating additional revenue. So when you receive this airdrop, you can do 2 things. Either you can, sell all this for whatever token you want, USH, USDC, EGLD, whatever, or you can keep it as it will be already a passive income token.
So you can use it to farm on HashSwap or on.
It will already be. You will receive a packaged product.
Yeah, an LP token.
Exactly, and it will already be generating some rewards for you. So you literally have nothing to do.
So with this, you consider that maybe the selling pressure will be less strong, and yeah, people will be incentivized to keep this more than a single token. It's interesting. I had never seen such airdrop, but I'm not used to airdrop farming, so I'm not the best to talk about it. Is it something that you invented, or have you seen such mechanism elsewhere? It's interesting to see where you look at to bring innovation on MultiversX.
This beauty comes out of the brain of most likely Ahmed and Foudre, conversation happening between midnight and 5 a.m. And I don't know if they created this mechanism or if they saw something elsewhere and they decided to get inspired from it.
Mm.
But yes, when they talked, when they presented it to me, I felt that first it's very smart because instead of getting some coins, you get a package that is generating revenue, so it's great, and it will already be implemented in the USH staking pool.
Okay.
And then, of course, you have the flexibility to do whatever you want. It is an LP, so you can break it, sell it, so do whatever you want.
So okay. If I understand correctly, one day I would just connect to my Hatom DApp, and I would just see that I have a position on the Hush that have been increased because of the airdrop. And
it's a good question. I don't know the full extent of how operationally this will be.
Maybe require an action for my part to claim or something like that. Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe most likely you will receive the LP, so you will have to go through the fact of transforming it into a farm token if you want to keep it and increase the rewards, and then stake it into the USH staking pool. That's most likely how I would see this happening, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll share some more detail close to the.
And last question, if possible, is it like a one shot, or it will be kind of a vesting that is I get a percentage over the time, or it's I get everything at once?
Phase is said in 6 months.
Over 6 months. So let's say you have 100% of your airdrop allocation divided in 6 months.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We still have 1 minute, maybe one or a few seconds to tell the audience that you launched some quests on Pulsar Money. So I will share the link. If you guys want to earn some tokens, feel free to go and farm it. I'll put it in the comment section so you have it there. So $3,000, I think, are available here. First thing. And second, before we move to the next topic, yes, we have a question in the comments. So can you answer, please? I will translate it in English for the audience. So I don't know if I understood well, but what's happening if the swap happens and at the same time the HTF is dumping?
That's live.
So there we are coming back. So there we're coming back to the new potential feature.
Yes. That's a question. Yeah, but I did not want to interrupt you before.
Yes. So 2 things. First of all, this new feature is an opt-in, meaning that you can decide to unlock this feature, because otherwise you will have the normal system, meaning that when you accrue the revenue from people paying for borrowing from you, you will accrue those rewards, this interest in the token that you're lending. So that's the basic system. To your point, when you are lending EGLD and you are getting those interest in EGLD, if the token price is going up or going down, you are having the similar the same dynamics. Only in stablecoin it stays stable in the rewards. So, but yes, you're absolutely right. If you are lending BTC and you decide to receive your rewards in HTM, if BTC is going up and HTM is going down, you are definitely getting less. But at the same time, if the market is a bit greener than what we've seen the last few months, and you are lending BTC, and BTC is going up gently, and at the same time we are in an altcoin, a greener market, and you are opt in, you will receive HTM that will go higher and basically transform into more rewards. So in the end, there's never a magic solution to ensure success 100%. It's always decisions that you have to make for yourself. So it's the same as when you use USH. Those are features we try to innovate at Hatom. I think this is one of the core identity and the culture in this company, is that we're always trying to innovate, create new things. So, but innovation is new by definition. So before going hardcore and make it deep on a feature or on a new product, try to understand it, because it's new, so it's not perfect, and over time, you will understand more things. And so,
last question.
Play safe.
From Solver. Soul will be built on MultiversX as a base layer.
No, so Soul is an omni-chain protocol. So right from the start, it will be built across multiple layers. So right from the start, and I can currently, for example, reveal the testnet, Soul's testnet, is going to be already spanning across multiple chains, across multiple layers.
So if I can say something technically, like it's not possible to build on MultiversX, because the need for Soul is to have a messaging layer, which is something like layer 0, Axelar, or Chainlink with the CCEP. And that's it. Like you need a messaging layer that allows to not use bridge and to basically exchange informations between chains and connect to different chains. So it will be like it's called like layer 0 is a project, but it's basically you need a layer 0 protocol that connects all protocols in order to build something that is built on top of other chains. So Soul will be built also on top of MultiversX, specifically on top of Atom, for example, so that you can connect different lending protocols on all chains. So made it easy with a marketing slogan. Something that I like to say is it will be great for users because they'll be able to chase yield and not chains. So they can simply look for the best yield in the different chains and the different top lending protocols and decide that. And this is also extremely positive for Atom because the model that we have enables Hatom to have extremely interesting and attractive APYs. And once you have that and you connect with all the other lending protocols, you basically create a funnel for the best yield. And with Hatom having the best yield, you funnel a lot of new liquidity into Hatom. So maybe easy, maybe I managed to explain it well
Solver,
enough.
basically, right now, on the testnet, Soul is not implemented on top of Hatom on MultiversX because we need a messaging layer to connect it. As soon as this messaging layer will be built, Soul will be implemented on top of Hatom MultiversX.
Clear.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. I think you're good about Hatom. Thanks a lot, Arno. It was not planned. I re-say it, but you did it perfectly. Let's move to the next topic. But first of all, I remind you guys that you can win 2 times $15 in crypto thanks to our sponsors. So Hatom, we spoke about it since the beginning of the space, and EAPES, which is one of the biggest, one of the oldest NFT project on MultiversX, and they are launching a very new collection on Solana to explore new ecosystem, new builders, new holders. And you know what? They just built a new a node, like as a staking providers. It's a very new feature for them. They also built a marketplace dedicated to EAPES. So yeah, they are here. They are building things. So all the best for them, and thank you EAPES for the full support. And you can win $15 in their token, the EAPES, by retweeting and commenting the space on Twitter. So let's move to the next topic, and it will be your turn, Philippe. Yes.
Yeah. So
We'll speak about Andromeda. So everybody talked about it yesterday, or maybe a few days before, because a long article were posted about it. Also, Robert did a great post about it. Yeah, many people spoke about it. I wanted, and I asked you, Philippe, and thank you for accepting to maybe make it simple for the people. So, what is this upgrade? First of all, yeah, what is it? And after we'll have maybe some question for you.
yeah, so I will try to not be too technical, because there have been a lot of tweets. Even me, I'm reading them. I'm like, okay, but that's not the point. Maybe I should make a thread also about explaining it more like on human world, if I can say, instead of geek world. But that's the exercise we'll try today. Okay, so there's a new upgrade that arrived on the MultiversX network, so Andromeda. And the main important point with that is to achieve, in fact, faster finality. Okay, so one main problem, and that I think everyone understands, is like the cross shard transaction take at least 23 seconds to be finalized today, and that's not something really acceptable. And that's why you have a lot of users creating and a lot of projects creating all their smart contract and all their wallets, in fact, on the shard one. Okay, so for the people using infrastructure and observing squad, you can see easily that the shard one is overused compared to the rest, because there is no point on being on another shard. So what Andromeda is bringing, in fact, it's a change of the consensus, in fact, and all the finality is happening. So right now, what's happening when you run a transaction on one shard, it will be then reviewed by the meta chain. Okay, and after that the meta chain approves the block, it's considered finalized. So you cannot have other execution of smart contract or a following execution between shard without all the time bouncing back to the meta chain. And that means that when you make complex scenarios cross shard, that take too long. Okay, so what Andromeda is doing, there is different points. So I make kind of a small little list, and I try to do it nicely. Okay, so right now, if a shard approve a block, it will be considered final. So it don't need the meta chain anymore to say, oh, okay, I just double check, I notarize the information, I settle the stuff, and then that's the truth. Okay, so now when you make a transaction on one shard, immediately another shard can take this information as truth and continue the execution. So that means that you will divide by 2 immediately the time for transaction to be finalized and finish, and to see that transaction success on your dashboard. Okay, so that means that there is a lot of DApp, a lot of systems that even on the shard one at the moment, they will not need the approval from the meta chain, and immediately when the shard approved it, it's finalized. So that means that all the transaction, all of them at the moment, the time will be divided by 2. Voilà. So that makes the thing simple. That's what we call the instant finality inside the shard. Okay. That means also the cross shard will be divided by 2, because again, you don't need to bounce from shard to meta chain to the other shard, and the other shard to the meta chain. Instead of 4 validation, if I can say, you will have on 2. So all the execution and all the cross shard transaction will be divided by 2. So that will be directly visible for any user using the network. Taking consideration that we go on the testnet tomorrow, if I'm not wrong, and that means that there will be probably some months of testing. I don't know the status at the moment, to be sure that everything is fine and working with the current protocol. Okay. The other big point that is changing is regarding the consensus. Okay, so at the moment you have 400 validator on each chart. Okay, with 63, I think 64 that are like lead validator. So there's one propose the block that are reviewed, but at the end it's only them that make really the work. Okay, and they are the one getting most part of the reward. So that means as a validator, if your node is a leader of the shard, you will get more reward than the others. So you had an inconsistency, let's say, as a validator, as a stacking provider. You are never sure at each epoch how much reward you will get. It was really hard to project because the leader were chosen totally randomly. Okay, that will not be the case anymore. That means that the 400 nodes of each shard will be capable to take part of the consensus and validate. That means also that your node will be always, because when you are leader, your node were using more resources. That means that all the 400 nodes will be using more resources, like they are all leaders, in fact. So if you want, when you're leader, you use more. Then you're not leader, you use less resources. Right now, everyone will be using the leader amount. I mean, that means more requirements, but that means also like a better stability on the network and a better, less surprises. For example, validator that was running node, sometimes they say, oh, it's fine, and then they switch validator and they are really low in terms of available resources. That will not be the case anymore. That means when you run your node, you will see the usage and it will remain constant. So that will be also easier for validator to run their node and to foresee, in fact, the consumption of resources and the cost that could come out of that. Okay, and so all the transaction time divided by 2. The meta chain is not used as a settlement, so the meta chain still keep all the management of the validator and the rewards for the protocol for the when you stack your EGLD on a stacking provider. But still the meta chain that manage that. But it's still, if you want, that will still regroup all the information, and that will be kind of the library with all the information about the status of ESDT, the status of the smart contract. Like, so if you need information, the meta chain will still be a perfect point to get all the information and to be sure that they are already approved. Okay, so that doesn't change. What changed, in fact, it's also cross-chain transactions. So cross-chain transactions should go also faster. I'm talking about bridges. I'm talking about that kind of element. Probably Sol later on when they want to get the approval. You don't need to wait 23 seconds before to continue the execution of any kind of succession of transaction. So yeah, there is just some negative point. There is like counterpart, let's say, or some things to take in consideration. That means that you will have less, as the finality happens faster, you will have less time to analyze your error. So that means that if your contract makes something wrong, it's almost impossible, and even more with the supernova, I thought that at the end, it will be even more difficult to roll back the stuff in time or anything like that, because directly the information will be available and anyone will be capable to run transaction over it, and then the rollback become impossible. So that will require maybe more monitoring, more stuff, but I trust the MultiversX team about that, and they are capable of doing it. I think that was also the concept of all the screenshot of Lucian with the dashboard on the background saying we are monitoring, everything is fine, blah, blah, blah. They were monitoring already, I think, the Andromeda update on the private network. Okay. But yeah, I mean, at the end, that would be probably the most important step to go to supernova and to go on a sub-second finality, because right now the time will stay the same, those 6 seconds. But in the future, they want to go on the sub-second at 600 milliseconds, if I'm not wrong, and to reach, in fact, 20 times faster than the current state right now. Okay. So in terms of user, what does it mean? That means that if I'm on shard 1 and I'm doing a transaction on the shard 1, today it takes 6 seconds to get validated. Tomorrow it will just take 600 milliseconds. So you click, the time that the window appears and the stuff start to turn, more or less it will be validated, and the transaction will be instant as a user point of view. And if you do cross shard, it will just be like 1.2 seconds. That is also more than acceptable, I think, for any kind of use cases that don't need to be optimized. But yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to have it because that would be a big game changer for all the users. That sometimes you wonder what's happening. You will not even have time to click and see like the Explorer, the status. When you click, the page is loading. It will be already approved and finished.
Thank you very much, Philip, for this. We have many questions, and I will let Arno start.
Yes, I know that Davey has been thinking of this Andromeda plus supernova effect on DeFi in a very thorough way. So he will have interesting takes. But if I had to sum up why I'm excited about this dual upgrade, is that the MultiversX blockchain, and let's talk pure about technical foundation here. MultiversX blockchain, technologically wise, is extremely advanced in its way of keeping its users safe, capacity to scale, and many other verticals that makes it one of the most advanced blockchains in the world. But one of the things that hold it back was the speed. And you often have speed is part of the user experience, as Philip said. If you're used to chains and using products on other chains and it goes fast, it's just the tip of the iceberg, but it looks like because it's fast, it's performant. But it's not necessarily true. With this upgrade, it's going to change things for the UX, for users, but it's also going to change loads of things for the builders. The whole system is going to go way faster. And for certain products, it's absolutely game changing.
Well, I think we need, and maybe one of you can do it better than me, to make the difference between the speed of the transaction and the speed of the finality. For example, on Solana, the transaction is very speed in a UX way of seeing, but actually the finality is not that speed. So maybe can one of you explain the difference between, okay, the transaction is approved and after it's finalized on the blockchain? So maybe it can be interesting. Davey, maybe?
Yeah, Davey can be good for this.
Yeah, so something that users really don't understand when they use other chains is that they don't understand the risk that there is in considering the actual block time similar or the same as the finality. This is something that happens on other chains, and it's a risk that Chexes, Dexes, etc. are taking. And I can make some examples. So let's say I'm a lending protocol. Okay, one thing that you always need to, like a certainty that you need, is for the liquidation to happen in time. Because if, for example, I make a transaction, a liquidation happens, and the transaction is not final, this means that in the time that the transaction is not final, it could happen that the transaction is deleted from the blockchain because it's rolled back.
Davey, can you use very simple words to define transaction is final? What does it actually mean?
Transaction is final means that every time that we like execute a transaction is written on a ledger, and you can't know if the transaction is final, if the transaction that is submitted will be kept in the ledger. And this
Basically,
is
we
extremely
don't come
important
back
for
on this action.
Yeah, exactly. Like you need to be sure that what you submitted and is being confirmed is also final, so that there's no way that your transaction is kind of deleted, rolled back, and it goes back to another fork. Like it can happen in that different forks are created also, and so only one fork is decided and not the other, and the transaction is only one of two.
So the difference
Yeah,
between
basically you need to
speed
ensure
and block
that
finality, if you had to really just focus on this explanation.
EGLD5, yeah.
I can
So-
try if you want.
That's not the answer. Let's imagine that you're talking to someone who is very new to this, and they don't need to understand the full complexity of why my transaction is super quick and why the finality is actually something different. Because when I sign a transaction and it shows successful as a user, to me, it's done.
Yeah, basically, there's a chance for Solana, for example, that even if this transaction is successful in a time span of 12 seconds, the transaction could be like removed from the ledger and said to you, okay, there's another fork that has been decided, or there's a rollback or something like that.
So this is the difference between
it's
transaction
really important.
speed and actual finality.
Yeah. And it's also,
Exactly.
it's more, it could be problematic, for example, if you have like a EVM sandwich attack. So that means that you do your transaction, you know, with a specific rate for a swap, for example, and then someone arrive in the middle, like put more fees to go faster than you. That's all the problem with this EVM bot, if you want. And then your transaction either is rolled back because there's no liquidity, your slippage like blocks the stuff whatsoever. But then you have someone is capable to come between the moment that you submit and the moment of the finality to change the state of the contract.
So basically, what you're saying is that on certain chains, when you are putting in a transaction, for example, you want to exchange stablecoin for a token, your transaction will arrive in a place where you have all transactions.
Yeah.
And you have people who are able to look at those transactions. They see that you are buying your token at a certain price. And because they will play with the gas fees, which are incentives to pay for what we call the block producer, their transaction is going to go before yours. And so they will be able to buy the token before you, then resell it to you, and profit from the price difference. This is what we called minor extractable value, and it's a sandwich attack.
Exactly. So that's one aspect. Okay, that's the most common and that's the most understandable. But after you have also like the way of the nodes are approving the value and rating it finally on the chain. So for example, stupidly, MultiversX could have done something more easily to do than what they are doing with Andromeda. They could have said, when the block is approved by the shard, I don't care about what the meta chain will do. I just appear and I put it like done. But then 6 seconds later, if the meta chain was saying no, then it will switch back to no. And in fact, I mean, MultiversX have already been transparent about that and fair. So that means that the stuff is final when it's successful, when it's final. So that means that you had to wait the meta chain to say everything is fine, you're good. I don't know how other chains are working, on how they put their explorer, because at the end that could be mimicking the finality while it's not final, and that's what you see sometimes. Your transaction pass on some chain, I mean, and then after that you see that in fact the transaction failed, and you thought that you sold your token at the right price, but then 2 days later you reconnect, and in fact they are backed on your wallet. And that's something that never happened on MultiversX because they wait really for the finality to happen before to make it readable.
Yeah, okay.
That's why they have the feeling of it's slow, but at the end, it's slow, but when it's done, it's done. And that's what I want in a chain. When it's successful, when I get my token, I see them, it's over.
So what you're saying is that MultiversX actually tried to take the hard path of, and now, once Andromeda and Supernova happen, it will actually be an immense leap forward. So, Davey, if you could tell us, with this transaction and finality speed, will MultiversX, in terms of speed, catch up with the best blockchains in the world?
Like in terms of finality, yes, like it would be among the best. In terms of block time, yeah, I mean, we are there are a lot of sub-second block time chains, but it's good to be on par with them. But the finality is extremely important for a lot of critical applications. Like I could make examples of some like some possible improvements coming out of this. Like for example, as I said, like for a purpose exchange, like you need to be sure that liquidations happen at all the time, and for that you need strong guarantees of transactions not only being fast but also being final. And so once you have a risk, it basically is converted in higher cost for the users. And if you have lower risk, you can basically lower the fees, lower the cost for the users, also make the, like, since you know you have better guarantees for security on the purchase exchange, you can lower the funding rates. And it's something that we're seeing on other chains, and it's great to have something that is top tier on MultiversX and can allow for the DeFi ecosystem to compete, also being like attractive for other companies to make their things. Like it's not it seems that some seconds of possible non-final transactions are not a problem, but if you look at different possible things like bridges, like checks, like they need to ensure that a transaction that is being done is final, because they can't take, they won't, and they can't take the risk of the transaction being not like being like notarized or like going around in the system and then being said that, okay, no, that was not final, like you made that bridge transaction, I said to you that you have these tokens, but it's not really your tokens, like the transactions was deleted. And I don't know, the world space is overlooking this, but it's
I
really
mean, it's
important.
something that I think most of the user can see when you use a SEX. So that means that when you throw money on Binance, you have always a delay. You know, he asks for a certain amount of validation before to appears on your wallet and be able to do anything. And that's exactly what Davey is describing at the moment. That means that this timing of when I make a deposit on a Binance wallet, wallet for put it on the SEX, it should go faster. If you go, for example, on all the deposit and all the withdraw on your different SEX, you will see that you have a certain amount of round or validity that need to go through before that the transaction is approved and done. And that's exactly what David is saying. When you go cross-chain or you want to go like off-chain, if I can say like that, for a service that is off-chain, you need to be sure that it's final and cannot be rolled back before to make it appear on a user wallet. And so the entire ecosystem is really based on that. For Sol protocol also, that means that if you want, and the thing is that the slower you are, the less you are able to be integrated with other chain. And that's one of the problems, I think, of MultiversX today. That's why there's not so many bridges. That's why all these things, because at the moment, the finality is done through sharding and the meta chain. And that's not something that is common in the rest of the ecosystem. While with the Andromeda thingy, we will be capable to have more or less the same requirement than the rest of the ecosystem until that we arrive on Supernova, and then we will blast the rest of the performance of the other chain. That's how I see it, at least. That's my vision on the stuff. That means that's really, this one is just really changing the mechanism, changing the organization of the transaction and the finality. And if everything is fine and it works, we just reduce the time of a block and it should work like a charm.
Okay, great. So do you guys see, Davey, you just used the example of a perp decentralized exchange as, you know, this would be a critical upgrade to make those kind of products successful on MultiversX. Do you guys see other examples that are currently used or not used on MultiversX of products or product ideas that you can have, and that those two upgrades would make possible and most likely more successful, or with more success changes on MultiversX? Davey?
Yeah, so a ton of examples, like we could talk about this for 2 hours, but Another thing. So let's say I'm someone that wants to do arbitrage. Okay. So I want to submit a transaction on MultiversX, and soon after I want to submit a transaction on Shax.
So just
because I see
Davey, can you
price
explain very quickly in simple way what is arbitrage? Because maybe not people.
Okay, so I see an asset, so a GLD at $100 on MultiversX, and then I see EGLD at $102 on Binance. What I want to do is to make a transaction on MultiversX and then make a transaction on also Binance, and I want to be sure that all of these two transactions are, let's say, final. So I need to be sure that they actually happen.
So what you want to do is actually, since you see a 2% price difference, you want to buy low on MultiversX and sell $2 more on Binance, correct?
Exactly. I want to do that at the same time.
Okay.
And till now, like on a lot of chains, like the risk that you have as an arbitrage actor is that on Binance, you are kind of sure about the transaction being final because it's more efficient, because it's centralized. On chain, you have the risk of your transactions not being final. And this is a risk because if that doesn't happen, you end up with someone else taking advantage of the arbitrage opportunity. And so you don't profit. And this is a risk for the arbitrage actor. Maybe it makes them not do arbitrage for some small profit. And so it kind of decrease the efficiency of the system, because you always need to have prices that are as balanced as possible. So this is one of the examples, for example,
Okay,
that I could make.
that's a very it seems like a small thing, but actually, since we are in a blockchains are automated economical systems, so everything relies on the system being curating or healing the inefficiencies by itself, and everything is economically incentivized. So what Davey is showing with this example is that today arbitrage actors that are very important in blockchain ecosystems, they might not want to take the risk of arbitraging between exchange and chain on MultiversX because there is too much of a risk that they don't succeed in doing it. So what they do, they don't do it, and they do it elsewhere. Having this upgrade can make those actors who don't care about EVM, whatever, no, they just want to profit from those type of opportunities. They would look at MultiversX now because there will be money to be made. And so what will be the impact for the MultiversX ecosystem? It will mean prices that will be really sharp between all the different actors, whether on-chain or off-chain on sexes, more volume, because more arbitrage meaning more volume. And so when you have more volume, you have the decentralized exchanges, basically all the DeFi infrastructure that is on-chain, that is being more used. Yep. More fees, more volume. It's great. So this is a clear impact of how upgrading the chain with Andromeda and Supernova will create ripple effects that will benefit the ecosystem. Thanks, Davey, for this example.
If I may add something quickly, that's also mandatory if you really want to have sovereign chain. So that means that right now, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. It's really hard to sell a sovereign chain system that needs to have its own settlement system.
Philip, it was rebranded. Now it's Lightspeed Chain.
Sorry. I can talk about sovereign shard if you want.
You're so a boomer.
Yeah, the Lightspeed chain. Yeah, but the idea is really if you want to sell the technology to any institution, any companies, and I've been digging a lot on that the last months. You really need to have. You cannot wait for a finality that happen over another chain that already take few seconds of finality plus all the off time for off-chain system. Right now, if you have a 0.6 second in one chain that is already validated in a block, directly propagate to the main chain, that means that you have a cross-chain validation that happens in less than 2 or 3 seconds. And that's a game changer.
If I can make what Philippe said, just like batshit easy, is sovereign chains. You can customize the block speed and the finality. So you can say my sovereign chain is super fast. I have one block every second, etc., etc. But it's still interconnected with the rest of the MultiversX ecosystem. And if the rest of the ecosystem
doesn't have to. Excuse me, but I think it doesn't have to. I mean, the sovereign chain can be independent with the main chain. So actually, with sovereign chain, Lightspeed chain, you actually can, like you say, customize your block time and finality. So this upgrade will have an impact only on sovereign chain who wants to interact with the meta chain. So
or with any other chain.
I mean, what the great thing about the great value proposition with layer twos on EVM is that they are part of the Ethereum ecosystem.
Yes,
so
but that's why Lightspeed are not rollups. I'm just saying.
No. Technically, they are not. But since they benefit from all MultiversX core advancements, they can be completely siloed and do whatever they want. But some of them,
agreeing with you, is without this upgrade, we had to make it independent.
Yeah,
because it was not possible to rely on a so long finality. Now the finality will be very, very much speed. It will be more interesting to be connected with the meta chain, definitely.
Yeah, but the use case don't change. That means that if you wanted your chain to be siloed, so let's say I'm a company that want to manage my internal data, my things, I don't want to have a settlement on the main chain. I don't care. First of all, because I want to roll back whatever mistake that is done by my employees or users whatsoever. But if you want to make a gaming chain, for example, and be capable to use the resources and the value and the stuff from other chain, that's mandatory. And we get there. Let's see when you go on a devnet, on a testnet.
The challenge now for the next 6-9 months, because this is what we expect for the Supernova upgrade, which will be, I think, the biggest one. The challenge will be to make it known and to make it understood and to make it sold to the market, because we know about these upgrades. So yeah, the big challenge of the foundation really is to make it known. So yeah, are you bullish about their capability to sell the technology and to attract, the killer app that will make MultiversX great? I would say again, but actually MultiversX has never been great. It was Elrond that was.
Yeah.
So what's your take on this? And it will be the last one for this topic before we speak about Ambassador and the potential increase of EGLD supply. So what about the capability to make it known and to make it valuable to the market? Davey or Philip, as you wish.
I can start if you want, but
Yeah,
from my point of view, they probably have the best tech on the market at the moment. I'm really digging a lot into private blockchain and how to deploy blockchain for institutions, companies, space communication, whatsoever. And the thing is, like, even, for example, you say that you can modify the block time of a light speed chain. Okay, it's nice, but you still have this settlement between shards that need to happen inside of your own chain if you have multiple shards. Okay, and the Andromeda will be capable, in fact, to bypass the bottleneck of the meta chain, so that it's private or connected to the main network. That will be a big added value, in fact, for any companies that want to have an efficient chain that is also modulable modular, if I can say, or you can add shards, in fact, depending on your need, add dedicated shards for specific use cases. So, for example, you can have a shard that is dedicated for contability and pricing whatsoever, another one that is dedicated for data storage and these different elements, and maybe you can configure them separately. I mean, from an institutional and company point of view, that's for me the best way, and they're in the best position if they manage to release everything without problem to sell the technology for institutions and companies. Because big companies don't want the public chain, they don't care, but they want to have a technology that is compatible with something that is used by other company. Because you can also imagine that two companies can have their own system. Like you can think about like a lawyer or a European, for example, can have his own chain where company can build with the same technology and be interconnected. And that's something with the sharding and the MultiversX technology that is good. After, if they are capable to sell it, man, I don't know.
It was
I mean,
my question.
yeah, I mean, for me, they're in the best situation. I don't know what they are doing in US. I mean, we are waiting for Bates to come. So, but
I was supposed to come.
I mean, I hope he will come because that's a fair point. I mean, what is a strategy to approach industrial? Because I mean, I've been approaching space company and military, and they're interested into that. They want to use that kind of thing, but they want something that you can directly use out of the box, that they know is secure, that they can compartment it and secure it. So they check all the checkbox. The question after is what will be the strategy behind to sell it and to simplify the deployment and the maintenance.
I don't know if you agree, guys, but as far as I understand, I'm not in the backstage, I'm not in the foundation, of course, but as I understand, the Minkus brothers are in the United States to create this, to raise funds, to create this treasury, $500 million. It's the amount that Lucien spoke about it a few days ago on Twitter. They're trying to get partners, I don't know, with VCs, with maybe to attract a project to onboard on MultiversX. So they're doing stuff, definitely. They opened the office at Palo Alto. This is correct. They chose Palo Alto, yes. So they are doing things, definitely. Yeah, we'll see what will happen this year. But what we can say and what we can definitely say, and it will not be about the communication or marketing, because it would be a topic in itself. But what we can say is the developers, the guys that are building the infrastructure, they are building 80 hours a day. Okay, this is a fact. This is proven. They are working fucking hard to make it viable, and so the product is good. And after it will be the communication, marketing, business, financial challenge. But about the tech, they are working hard and a lot. That's a fact I can state. Last take, Arno, about this very quickly, please, because we are out of time. Yeah, Arno.
Yeah, to rebound on what you just said, working hard is not enough. Many people work hard and don't attain results all the time. You have, I mean, markets.
Once I'm bullish, you break my heart.
Sometimes you're the devil, sometimes I'm the devil.
Okay,
that's why you mash together, guys.
I'm actually going to end up flipping this in a good way. We know that the MultiversX technological vision, they have been true to it since the start. It basically comes down to scaling through sharding and achieving blockchain sharded ecosystem, fully composable, native, safe, etc., etc., etc. Those are all the primitives that are not new, but MultiversX has them right. And we are in a space where we are always going at 1,000 kilometers speed, a day. everything is going so fast, moving so fast, new narratives, new things, new stuff. You need to be. But the truth is, the actual world and the innovation, it takes time. And big companies don't use new technologies because it's the latest new shiny objects. When you have companies that have been existing for 100+ years, building airplanes, hospitals, banking systems, those move at a safe speed. And we are still not, we don't have a safe blockchain infrastructure that is mature, etc., etc. So I do believe that where the tech stack that MultiversX has been building, and the various products, sovereign chain, lightspeed chains, whatever, those are very interesting and promising opportunities. And I'm looking forward to the next few months, of course, with the US. And I think that, you know, if you step away from the markets and you look at purely about the company.
I said short, sorry, Arno, but
yeah.
I think we got the point, and it's
no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
I'm sure I you know what, I even think that be careful, because those who move fast are taking market share, and they're accumulating profit that will make them there in 10 or 20 years. So
who are you talking about?
The big blockchains that are accumulating revenue.
Sure, go on. Give me a big blockchain that is actually making money. Go on.
Solana.
No, Solana is losing tremendous amount of money.
The validator are bleeding money. I mean, they are just getting. I mean,
the chain is bro. The chain is printing SOL at an unprecedented rate. They're losing.
Commercial company. They are attracting all the market share. Even, you know, this morning I just read that the build, you know, the financial product from BlackRock will be launched on Solana, for example. So it's a market share that they are getting, and of course they are generating revenue. I'm not saying that they are profitable, but they are generating revenue, and so they are taking advance for the next 10 or 20 years, even though the technology is not the best, but they're taking this position. So that's why it's good to say, okay, we're here to build for 10 or 20 years, but maybe you are taking some late, you know what I mean? We are in thesis.
I think it's a good thing. I mean, like the thing is that you need to have companies that get interest into blockchain technology, okay, that face the problematic and the limitation, okay? So if tomorrow you have Microsoft that start to build on Solana, for example, they start to create their smart contract, their system, their data set, I'm fine with that, and it's a good thing. The thing is, like, when they will want to do something a little more tricky, a little more difficult, or to own the technology by themselves, they will be blocked. Okay, and that's why
that's my point. You know what? That's my point, and I am not sure, but that's my point. Do you think if they're blocked, like you say, what will be the choice? Or to ask Solana, for example, because they are on it, because they have the mean to do this, they have all the fund that they want to do it, to develop the solution of the problem in the coming 6 months or 1 year, or to Microsoft that is established on Solana to take their business and to move to another blockchain like MultiversX, for example. That's my question.
Yeah, and it's a fair point, but I think that's a natural approach. That means that if you look at big actors like sport brand, like PayPal, like they do little experiments on public chain, okay? But let's be fair, if you're Microsoft, you don't want to go on a public chain, you want to make your own chain that people will use.
Are you sure of it, of this statement?
I mean, think that someone, let's be fair, you think that Steam, like the gaming company, okay, they decide to make all their assets on chain and to have like a marketplace, all these different elements. You think that they want to rely on a public chain they don't have control, or they say, man, we are Steam, We will create our own blockchain dedicated for gaming, okay, and take a fee over everything. Man, it's business and money.
I don't agree with you, because some tried, but actually, for regulation aspect, you're right, but it's tending to change this last month. So maybe it will be possible for companies like this to invest and to establish on public blockchain. It was not really possible before, but anyway, it's a job to launch a blockchain. Okay, it's a complete job. It's not Steam's job to do it. So why would not they rely on a blockchain, public one?
I mean, one? I think first of all, this debate is interesting, but it is relying on everybody having a crystal ball.
Yeah.
And
no, it's about
doesn't go nowhere. But there's one thing that we're taking out.
Guys, not at the same time.
Yeah, because it's not just crystal ball. It's about opportunity choice of a company to launch its own blockchain or to rely on an established blockchain on which many other companies are already in. And so the question about MultiversX is they're taking time to make it perfect, and it's good. Really, it's good. But are they losing market share that will be so difficult to take back in the coming years? So that's the topic.
GRM, there's no market share. There's no market share. You're talking because you've been like all of us in this space for years. There is no market share. I mean, we're talking like, Solana is doing some global shit. They don't, even with their bloated up numbers, they don't have 5 million users. I mean, it took 2 weeks to OpenAI to have 20x this. Yeah. It's nothing. It's nothing. So yes, I agree with you that today Solana has an advance because most experiences are going to their chain, and there's no arguing over this. But let's please not act as if the market is completely established and it's finished, because it's absolutely not true. The blockchain space is tiny.
It's not what I say. I talk about market share. You can say there is no market share, but there's timing in markets. Okay,
I'm saying the market is super small.
And so what? And the advance that we take now or we lose now, do you think it's nothing?
No.
That's your
No,
point.
I'm not saying it's nothing. I'm just saying that if, and that's my only point, if MultiversX manages to secure funding round to make, because this is a resilience game, it is a survival game. So if MultiversX manages to secure so that they can keep.
Okay, that's the crystal ball. That's the crystal ball. If I'm talking about what's happening now.
Yeah, but you're talking about
rise to you know what? Many other blockchain has raised hundreds of millions and did nothing with it. So it cannot be just about funds. You know it. And there are so many examples of blockchain that did nothing with 200, 300, 400 of millions of dollars that raised, and you know it. So this is crystal ball.
Yeah, I'm seeing what MultiversX did with 6 million, and I'm seeing them already doing stuff. So yeah,
definitely. I agree with this. And just it's crystal ball. It's not even crystal ball, because crystal ball is about the future. What you say is about what would have happened. So it's even more to this.
There's one thing that I would like to add, because I mean, and I take that example a lot of times. I mean, every time when I stand on stage, more or less. But the idea of blockchain are database. Okay, right now the technology is too hard or too complex, let's say, to be adopted by a company, and there is not enough benefits to have like 5-10 engineers managing the blockchain, securing it, developing the technology. Okay. Today, you see all the companies that are using PostgreSQL, MongoDB, all these different databases, because it's easy. You can run it in one command. Very easy way to find developers developing on it. Okay, and they can migrate from one database to another depending on the usage, and have different databases with different use cases communicating each other depending on their needs. Okay, what's amazing with MultiversX also, and we don't talk about that enough, I think, is like the VM that they are using. Okay, that means that tomorrow, when you look, I take Steam again. I mean, they are not there, but they start to make a proof of concept on a public chain to see if there is interest, if that bring new users, if that secured their stuff a little better. Tomorrow, again, it's a crystal ball. We want them to be capable to just run a script, choosing like the different smart contracts, the different wallet that they want to copy, and detach, in fact, the logic on their own infrastructure. But that's something that needs to be developed by another company. That means Microsoft is not developing database technology. They are using what's available open source today, and everyone is doing that. Okay. But I don't know any company using, except when they are forced by institution, using a public database on which they don't have control. So me, the way I'm seeing it is like you have companies that will be learning and discovering the technology and the advantages through public chain, because they don't have to maintain the infrastructure. Okay. But tomorrow, when they want to adopt and create real services and get ownership, to have the capacity to deploy their own infrastructure simply, like on one click to go, like on AWS or anything like that, to have their own infrastructure and to import everything that has been done on another chain. And with the Space VM, the beauty is like they are capable to take any logic of smart contract built on any chain, more or less, and to just copy it on the current stage on a private one, and then they are in control of the data. And I think that's a shift that will come later on, when big company will be starting to do that. And then smaller project, instead of building on the private one, on the public one, sorry, they will have incentive going to Microsoft or AWS to have the monitoring, to have all the users also using that, and all these different elements. Let's be fair, Steam tomorrow release a blockchain. In 5 days, they have more users than Solana.
I'm not sure about this. That's the
I'm not sure neither. That's just
Sony. They launched the blockchain. There's nothing on it, and it's Sony, so one of the biggest high-tech company. So it's not just about the brand. It's not just about the current user base.
It's about technology.
And it shows the abstraction of the technology is still not there, because tomorrow what we need is for people to buy train tickets without even knowing they are on blockchains. Instantly, you have this for any railway company in the world. Instantly, you have millions of users. But you don't want to have to handle your wallet and etc. etc.
Will it be profitable for companies like MultiversX?
Yes. Because they will sell expertise and they will be paid to add additional functionalities on their tech stack.
It's a consulting agency, or it's a blockchain with
they turn into MultiversX Labs, like Xportal. Everyone have his own role to play with the different kind of actors. And I think that's the way they are going there. I mean, when you sell technology, you take PostgreSQL, there is no big company owning Postgre. It's open source thingy that receives subvention for big groups to add functionalities.
Okay, but what the point for the MultiversX community, the EGLD holders, the staking providers, for the ecosystem that we are trying to build? What's the point for them? Except saying, like in a press release, they use the advice from MultiversX core team. So what would be the profit for?
Whenever you use the MultiversX blockchain, in a way, it profits for the MultiversX Foundation.
Yeah. Just imagine you're a developer tomorrow, you know that this technology is used by the big groups. You will learn this technology. That means there will be more builder, more project, more solution. Like and that's how technology takes the lead, in fact.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a very deep and interesting topic. You know what? And I'm really happy to have it with you, because maybe we don't have the same vision. And I know that you, Philip, are working with big industry players, and you know their needs. And maybe I speak more with like not that major player, but maybe smaller companies that are interested in blockchain. And so interesting, it's pretty interesting to discuss about it. So what will be blockchain tomorrow? Will it be companies on which companies will rely their database, or will it be just a technology? That's the interesting part.
If I can give my ideal vision on the next 5-10 years, okay, you will have the main net, okay, for MultiversX, okay. I think in any case, most part of the public blockchain will probably disappear or stop to being used, okay. You will have private blockchain from companies and stuff having services, but then when you want interoperability, a secured interoperability between them. So if Microsoft want to make a payment to Amazon through their different chain system that is private, they need to have a layer of trust. And that's where the public network is coming. And that's where the EGLD and the community will benefit out of that. Okay? But the idea, you need to have this way of creating interoperability between the different systems before any kind of adoption. You cannot tell a company, you are there, then you're stuck, you develop on a specific language, and it will remain there for the end of time, and you're stuck. That's not acceptable for any companies. Big group, at least. When you depend on the network and you depend on the ecosystem, like small project, research stuff, everything that we have at the moment, there you're depending on the main network. But if tomorrow, for example, I take X money, for example, the payment thingy, okay? If Microsoft want to make payment, they will go through X money. Through X money, that will make a settlement on the main chain. That need EGLD, in fact, from the beginning to the end. And that's where, in fact, the token will go up and the community that invested in the project will benefit out of it.
But X money is not using MultiversX blockchain.
Not yet.
Okay.
The thing is that tomorrow they will have a private chain because, again, you don't want everyone to be capable to access this information. Okay. For example, tomorrow I would like to make a payment, but you don't see my wallet, you don't see my information because I use through a private blockchain that settles the data on the public one to say, look, it's secure, it's safe, but you cannot read my account because there is no observer allowed on this private aspect, on this private chain.
Regulatory framework also.
You're mandatory.
Let's say you're a company in EU, you can't have the same blockchain as one in the US because the regulatory frameworks are different. So you need your own chain to be customized depending on the EU regulatory framework, whereas a company in the Philippines or I don't know elsewhere can have different parameters because of their regulatory framework. So I tend to think that we are most likely going towards a world where interoperability is everywhere and abstraction is everywhere. And I tend to agree with Philippe that big players will have to comply with the regulation of where they are. So they need the chain to be fully customizable to that extent.
For example, you take Twitter or X today, okay? A lot of people, when they saw X arrive with Elon Musk, they say, oh, they will make a blockchain with these things, everything will be written on chain, blah, that would be amazing. But it's just not possible in Europe because you need to be able to delete your information. And that's not possible on the public one.
On MultiversX, you can freeze.
No, because it will still be there in the past. So you need to have a private one on which you can delete the data as a centralized entity saying this user decided that everything that he wrote is deleted. They roll back everything or they change all the data with zero.
Oh, okay. You speak about privacy like this. Okay.
But you need that.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was not planned, but it was an interesting chat. So you know what, Ambassador program, in a few minutes, Davey, let's make it very short because we are out of time. But you accepted or you decided to get involved in this Ambassador program. So what can you tell us about this program? What are the commitment? What's your role? And will it have any consequences about your objectivity of an analysis on X and on other social network? Because that's something that we speak about on Twitter.
Yeah, firstly, like, I'm not getting paid for being ambassador, which is something that is really important. Also, because, like, you could say they're paying you for not being objective, they're not paying me. So, like, if there's something that I don't agree with, I can say that. Then like what is the goal of this? Like clearly giving some key players in the ecosystem more power, more leverage, and connections with the MultiversX team. And also, like if you look at the different ambassadors, a goal was to find people that are really well connected in the ecosystem, that also have are very active in the in MultiversX social layer, and that also are like located in different places in the world. So if you look at ambassadors, each one has is located in countries all around the world. So one of the key objectives is to increase and strengthen the regional communities of MultiversX. So for example, the Italian community is not very strong. So if I find some ways to create some small events, maybe some ways to strengthen the community also needs for Italy, is something like is one of the main objectives. And other than that, like we have the connection with MultiversX. So if we see that something doesn't work, we are we have a direct communication channel with the community. Maybe we understand better the needs, the concerns. Like I've seen in the comments some concerns from the community. Like we are here maybe as a middleman with between the foundation and the community. So mostly is this, and then like we'll keep doing what we already do. Like we could say that we were already ambassadors for MultiversX in some
Yeah,
ways.
that's why I was about to say, because now you're an ambassador at Hatom, Ash Swap, Soul, MultiversX. So you're ambassador like 4 times now.
Like
What's next?
currently like still didn't announce on X, so I first wanted to wait for USH period to end to not add other things to it. But I'm working as a business developer for
Ah, yeah, yeah,
Sci-Fi.
you told me. You
But
told me.
I said it to you in a post space.
Yeah, it's true.
And yes, so currently I'm ambassador for Rushwap and MultiversX. But it's more of a, I don't know, like as I said, I considered myself already an ambassador for MultiversX. Like anyone that is fighting for MultiversX and that is trying to increase the adoption of the chain, trying to solve problems on the chain, is in some way already an ambassador. Like there's no need to be an official one. The only difference is the foundation will give some extra effort in trying to help us in creating in strengthening the social layer for MultiversX, and so like potentially and hopefully increasing the awareness of the chain. So as I said,
Okay,
for myself is the Italian community, but
we'll
also the global one.
we'll speak about it in the next shows, of course. And thank you for coming to tell us about it. I would like to have this discussion about the increasing of EGLD max supply, because we're speaking about it on Twitter first, because we saw the blockchain, crypto.com recently reissued tokens that were initially definitely burnt in 2021, and they decided with the vote of the community to reissue it a few days before the announcement of a partnership between Trump Media, so the media company of Donald Trump, with crypto.com to work together to build some financial product around cryptocurrencies, of course. So more supply voted by the community. Well, if you deep dive a little bit, you know that the vote were, of course, by the foundation itself, because they own most of the token. So the vote was pretty much biased. And we can see that Zach XBT, which is the most famous on-chain analyst, denounced this reissuance of token, and he was blocked by the CEO of crypto.com. And of course, he posted about it. So it reminds me some things anyway. And so I would like to have this topic. I would like to have this topic with you about this potential increase of the EGLD supply. And just to add some more context, in a recent announcement, it was during a town hall or a community podcast. I don't remember, but Benjamin talked about an upcoming massive update of the tokenomics, the first one since 2020 or 21, since Mainnet. And so in this, there were several hypotheses about this change, and it could be, of course, the remove of the limitation of the max supply of the EGLD. So let's have this chat all together about the potential benefit of it, the potential disadvantage of it, and what do you think about this hypothesis? So Davey wanted to start, and after Arno.
Like firstly, like a rumor that I've heard, and it kind of makes this whole, like, where did this drama came from? Like there's this belief that the foundation doesn't have enough HLD in order to raise funds. So the question is, if they're going to raise funds, how are they going to do that? So what are they going to give to these potential VCs in order for them to give them money, basically? From what have been said, like it's only a rumor, so not from the MultiversX team.
Sorry, Davey, but I'm
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but just to put some context, you speak about drama.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about drama. I'm talking about what is happening at crypto, the Crow blockchain, and I'm talking about the massive change of tokenomics announced by Benjamin. After, you're right, people spoke about it in a good or in a bad way. So I'm not talking about a post, a drama, or something like this. I really want a debate, but not a drama, just to be sure that we are on the same page.
Yeah, like the question that was raised in the chat is clearly like meant as a way to
You're right,
show
but
some.
I decided this topic way before, so that's why don't get.
Mhm.
Of course, if the audience
Yeah,
have
yeah, it
any,
was only a word. Like you can delete the drama word. But what I'm
yeah,
saying is,
okay.
like there
I
was
let
this.
you speak. Just
There
wanted
was
to be sure.
Yeah, there was this question like, how will MultiversX raise funds without having much HLD? From what have been said, not by MultiversX team, but it's a rumor, uh, they still have a pretty big amount of HLD. So this probably might not be needed. The question is if it's needed. So let's say that they don't have enough HLD and they want to raise funds. How are they going to do that? Maybe in that case, in that scenario, they would need to increase the supply in order to raise funds. Is this legit? Is this not legit? In my opinion, it like if the community says that is not legit, it will not be done. Like people misunderstand what a decentralized network is. If the governance and all the majority of the participants in the network says that something is legit, it can be changed. Like blockchain is not immutable. Blockchain is protected by the consensus layer, and it's something that people don't understand. Like blockchains change all the time. We're changing the consensus. Some could come and say, no, I don't want the new consensus because maybe it's slightly less secure than the previous one compared to the newer one that is faster, but is like I'm making a hypothetical example, but that is faster but is slightly less secure. Like it's fair to have different opinions, but if the majority says something and wants to change that, we can do that. Like this is really important because it's against innovation. So I don't want that type of mentality of MultiversX in the future, because it's the same mentality that made Bitcoin ossify and becomes not competitive. And that's it. Like you can talk, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surrounded by birds, guys.
No,
I'm
no.
sorry.
Just
It's nice.
what is interesting in what you say, if they issue new tokens, maybe in short term it will dilute the value of the token, but if they add value to the ecosystem through the money that they raised, it can have actually a good impact of the whole ecosystem and on the GLD. So it's a bet on mid or long term, but definitely if you need to issue more token to raise funds, it will have, in a short term, I think, a dilution of the value of the token. Arno.
Yeah. So just to go to your original question, and the original debate, you talk about tokenomics change or whatever. If I recall, what Benjamin wrote was economical upgrade. So what's important here is that, first of all, as Davey said, and I think it needs to be crystal clear, MultiversX Foundation cannot decide to mint new EGLD. They cannot. It
Why?
has to go.
Why?
Because it has to go through a round of governance. It has to go through.
Yeah, but when we see the previous vote voted by 99%, actually it's pretty much the same. If the MultiversX Foundation decide, people will vote. So for me,
No.
vote.
They MultiversX, and this is what Benjamin said in his post, and it's very important. He said it will be a process of the economical upgrade that will be discussed with the community, and it will take some time. So that's why, to me, this has absolutely nothing to do with the raise, because the raise is.
I agree. So that's why I wanted to remove the drama rise part, because for me it was way above this topic. So I agree with you.
That's so this economical upgrade is going to be a process that will be discussed between many parts, the community, the foundation, etc., the validators. And what's interesting here is that we shouldn't be closed to anything. The way the MultiversX blockchain and tokenomics were fought in 2019 or 2017, etc. Well, when it was being created, it was with the reality back then.
Okay,
today is a brand new world, and maybe we have challenges that require an economical upgrade.
On this, so the debate is open. You agree with Davey, blockchain is not immutable. We can change things if it's positive for the ecosystem. I think on this, we can agree 100%. You know what? Even Bitcoin is always evolving. So no problem about it. So let's speak about the potential benefits and the potential disadvantages of increasing the supply of the EGLD. So maybe we can start by the rewarding of the staking providers. I don't know, Philip, if you want to say something about it, because you are a staking provider, but we know that in a few years there will not be inflation anymore. So we'll have to pay you to turn the nodes. But unfortunately, at the moment, in fact, the fees are not enough. So what do you think?
I don't know any chain where fees are enough at the moment. So after, it's a reality of the ecosystem. I mean, it's right now you need to have emission of tokens to be able to pay the people.
Like Ethereum, definitely.
Like it's something normal, and we come back on the adoption on the chain, making cross transaction with the settlement on the main chain. That would be, I think, the best way to take thousands, millions of transactions to aggregate into the main chain and pay and pay the fees. I mean, Bitcoin is having the same issue, and I see the same discussion on Bitcoin, because at the moment, I mean, like with the price of electricity, the price of the hardware, and all these different elements, it need more than just the fees. I mean, you need to increase the fee, but then nobody is using it. So it's really a tricky, I think, balance that you need to think. I mean, and if we talk about emission also, I mean, it's a big discussion that will be on the table for the Agora on MultiversX. I'm talking for the Agora, and I think there is other mechanism that need to be also investigated at the same time. Like, okay, if we emit more, maybe we should find a way to burn more. That kind of or for example, you will say instead we will emit more, but the fees that will be, in fact, will not go to the validator, but they will be burned in part. And then while the emission is going down, the burn per transaction will go down also. I mean, it's not, I think people should not just focus on one aspect, because we can increase the supply. I mean, honestly, I don't see a problem with that. It can be for paying the stacking provider. It can be also to incentivize big actors to run their own chain without paying for the EGLD that they need to log, because for people that don't know, if you want to run a sovereign chain with settlement on the main network, you need to have EGLD, in fact, that is stacked on your nodes, okay? And that means that if the EGLD is at 500 euro again, I mean, like, and a company want to start to run in sovereign, they cannot, they will not spend hundreds of thousands of euros just to start to set up their system with a settlement. So you need maybe to say, okay, we will emit more, but part will be redirected into a place, for example, that can be voted or used temporarily by other actors. So I think it's something that needs to be put in perspective of it will not go alone. So that means that if we decide to increase that, we need to have other mechanisms to have a balance and an equilibrium that is created over the time. And I think we need to keep these pictures in mind to say, okay, we can do it, but we need to think about consequences and plan it.
Yeah. It's a very complicated conversation to have today, because we have only a partial understanding of the problem and the opportunity of doing this economical upgrade. And first of all, as a community member, of course, we can think about the problem it would bring to us and the opportunity it could bring to us. But if we're talking about economical upgrade, it is because most likely the foundation is seeing in the long run a world in which the current economical engine of MultiversX as a network is not suited to tackle the challenges that are coming. And this is why, in my opinion, we should not be super dogmatic about this was the number that was set, it will have to stay like this forever. No, we want this network to survive, to thrive, to capture more value, to service more industries in the future. So we need to have the economical engine that is suited for this. I'm going to be very humble about it right now. I don't want to say if I'm pro, against, or whatever, because I don't even have the comprehension about the challenges that made Benjamin and most likely the rest of his team submit this potentiality of changing the economic engine. But I assume that if they put it on the table, it's because they have reasons for it. So once I will understand the reasons, I will be more than happy to start thinking about potential solutions and the trade-offs it entails.
Probably the discussion has been just dropped there to see how people will react, but we are far from a discussion with that. I think it's if it's coming, it's because you have actors that want to step in, either as validators or something like that.
You are 100% right, because actually from the audience who is watching us live or in replay, feel free to tell us in the comment section how would you react if MultiversX decided to increase the max supply, and which argument would maybe help you to approve this. For example, let's speak about the programmability, because increasing the supply is just a sentence, but how you do you increase in one time? Do you increase the inflation? Will it be a limit, or maybe there will not be a limit, like on Ethereum, for example? So there are so different ways to increase the 31.5 million initial supply of the EGLD. So you guys, and from the audience, feel free to comment what would be, according to you, the best or the worst way to increase this supply if it was decided by the core team to propose this to the community.
The thing is, when the team started saying we're going to propose new economics. Like, I don't want to be rude, but a lot of people don't understand what they're investing into, and also the wording. When we're talking about economics, it doesn't mean increasing the supply. There are a ton of things that can be done. For example, I'm working now on a Agora proposal, or something that I've been thinking of, which are, for example, blockchain credits. So this is something new for economics. So the thing is, so my proposal is, let's say I'm a company, I want to make 1 million transactions this year. I want to budget that. So I don't know how much that will cost, because the GLD can go up or down. What if I can pay for a specific amount of gas? So 20 billion amount of gas, I pay, I don't know, $10,000, and from that point on, over the year, I can spend 10 billion amount of gas without stressing on HLD going up, going down. I know what price I'm going to pay. This is something that has to do with the economics. So you can change a lot of things. So SUI has something different with the way that you have smart contracts on the chain. So, for example, you on SUI you can lock SUI in order to make an NFT stay on chain, and by the time that you don't want that NFT on chain, you tell the chain, okay, I don't want that, and the SUI that you locked go back to your wallet, and the NFT is, like, the data for the NFT is cancelled from the chain. So these are all possibilities that we can have on the chain. So the goal with economics is to find incentives and the best design to optimize the incentives that we have, to keep a nice taking rate, because that's directly connected with the security of the chain, and also to give validators reasons to keep validating and securing the chain. And you need the best design possible. So assuming that the current design is the best one is naive and a bit arrogant, because we did that all chains. So not only MultiversX, but all chains did that 3, 5, 10 years ago, without data, without experimenting much, looking at other blockchains and doing what they did, thinking that, okay, that was the best one, the best solution. But in fact, we still didn't find the best solution. And so what they're proposing with different economics, improved economics, is changing the design. So not necessarily increasing the supply. Also, because they said on X that they're not going to increase the supply. So, like, since Sazo said that on a reply, we can say that it's a commitment for them. But the point that I make extra is that even if they wanted to propose that, it needs to go through a governance proposal. So, like, for now, it's a validator, is validators voting on that. And if they don't want that, they can't enforce that. Like, they literally can't. They need a majority.
I agree with you. Philip, if you need to go, I will set you free. Thank you very much for coming this morning, and thank you for the presentation of Andromeda and all the other takes. So take care of yourself. We'll stay just 5 more minutes with you, Arno and David, to close this discussion. Thank you very much, Philip. Take care.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Always have a nice day, guys. And I still listen. I just walk away. Take care of you.
Just maybe to go back to the topic in a not financial or technological way, I think it will be a big challenge for the foundation, for the core team members, and for the ambassadors too, for all the structure around MultiversX, to make it as consensual as possible. I don't know how to say in English. Just let me check. Yes. Yeah, consensual. That exists. To make a consensus in the community. Of course, there will be people that will hate the idea. Of course, there will be people that will love the idea. But it will be a very, very big and interesting challenge, how to introduce the idea, how to prevent any big drama, big FUD, fear, uncertainties, and doubt about this increasing of the supply. Because intuitively, in the Web3, it's not something good to increase the supply. I say intuitively. I'm not speaking about it can have a good impact or bad impact. But so yeah, I think it will be a big challenge if they decide, because it's not done. Let's be clear to the audience. For now, nothing has been said officially about this. But if they decide to increase the supply, it will be important. And in my opinion, if I should give a piece of advice, is before you go public with such a thing, go in private to speak to every people involved, to get their feedback, to challenge the how, the why, and so on. And so when you announce it, or when you open the debate, you already have the support of the majority of people that are involved in the community. So yeah, I think it can be very interesting to do this. For example, the same way they did before they decided to cancel. It was postponed, but actually to cancel the X Day in Seoul. I don't know if you remember. They contacted all the involved people of the community to warn them, and when they announced, the announcement was support, because people were aware, they knew the why and the how and so on. So I think it can be a good way.
It's two different topics. X Day Seoul is their own decision, so they can decide what they want to do with it. Whereas here, it is something entirely different. And Davy, could you say again what you read from Robert Sassu about increasing the supply?
So, as I said, they came out with saying, we are proposing economics. People started to think, oh no, economics.
GRM, please listen, because it's directly to what
they're going to change the supply, because clearly, the community is not really knowledgeable about what blockchain economics actually means, which is for me is great. I can educate them on this, and I'm probably going to talk more about this. But the community started to think, okay, they said that they're going to improve the economics, and this clearly means that they're going to increase the supply. So they started to make posts saying that, oh no, they're going to increase supply. There was this promise of not increasing the EG supply. I invested into EGLD because there's the capital supply is a scarce assets, etc., etc. Sazu replied saying that economics doesn't mean that. We simply want to improve the way that incentives are distributed. We want to see if we have some ways to create a new type of incentives for stakers and delegators. And also he kind of made a commitment and said, we are not thinking of increasing the EGLD supply. And so this is because this whole discussion comes from people that jumped to conclusions without really understanding what was proposed and what was the meaning of the things that the MultiversX Foundation said. And this always the same thing. Even if we explained that, I made some posts on that, I did some replies on X, despite that, people are still talking about this. Why? Because by the time that you create some drama, you can't reach all the community, and so they keep saying that.
I would love to have MBM that you're putting right now on screen in there with us, explaining why increasing the supply of EGLD will kill it.
You know what?
I would love to have you here with us explaining it.
Davey just answered your question, Arno. All the argument that Sassu mentioned, even if you guys, because you're smarter than all these retail guys, because you understand what is token economic and so on, but the retail doesn't get everything. And maybe the way that you communicate, the way that you introduce, the way that you educate your community, make that people maybe don't understand all the economic stuff, very complex and so on. So what they will know is, I invested in a capped supply. you promised that the supply will not increase. So majority of people, if the marketing and the communication is not well done, will not understand, and so they will leave. So MBM post is not that irrelevant as you see.
I'm not saying it's irrelevant, so please don't make
No,
me say
this is the
this.
way I would like
No,
him
no,
to
no,
be
no,
there.
no, no. Please,
He
please
is
don't
there.
make me say this,
He
because
is
it's
there.
not what I said.
He is
I'm
there.
saying I would love to have
Answer
MBM
him.
there with us to explain why he's saying this.
No, you know what? He is stating something. You can agree, you can disagree.
I'm
So-
not agreeing or disagreeing. I'm asking him to come and explain why he's saying this.
But it's
This is
clear.
what I'm saying.
It's clear. Most retail,
It's not clear.
intuitively, they don't like that we change tokenomics this way. And second, for people, intuitively, when you increase the supply, you dilute the value of the token. So you don't respect your
But
promise.
it has no point, GRM. We're talking about this with absolutely no facts on the table. So if today I say to MBM and all the other people who think this, okay, actually you will make more money if EGLD supply is increased. It is in your interest to accept this decision. Instantly, you will see things differently. So let's not take the fact that increasing the EGLD supply is bad. Actually, maybe there are increasing EGLD supply would be good because of several facts. So let's not say today it's good or it's bad, because the truth is we don't know at all the reasons why we should make this economical upgrade. So, just saying today it will kill it is exactly the same thing as saying not increasing it would kill it too. Because maybe we don't know the issues, why we should increase it. Because maybe if we don't, we kill it. So let's be humble a bit,
So he decided to answer your question. So I think that for people that are listening to the replay on podcast, the guy replied, I think that a lot of retailers invested in EGLD for its low capped supply. That's speculation, and that's what it's all about. Retailers invest and speculate. And I would add, maybe when I speak about intuitive reasoning, that we are all biased by Bitcoin economy and the fact that we repeat for years that one of the strengths of Bitcoin is the supply will never increase. So in the retail, in majority of people in cryptocurrency market, increasing the supply is not a good news. So that's why I think intuitively most of people will not like the news, and that's our role as the media, as the foundation, the ambassadors, as everyone to educate, to explain, to so it's not irrelevant really to say that majority of retail will not like the news. So maybe Arno, you want to rebound on MBM answer, and after Davey.
I don't have much to say. I mean, the economical upgrade of EGLD, and again, economical upgrade, as Davey said, doesn't mean increasing the supply, but it could mean redirect the incentives in a more in a new way, so it sustains more and rewards more contributors, whoever they are. But whatever this might be, this economical upgrade will be put in motion to serve the growth of the network. So I understand you look at it on the pure basis of investment and speculation, but if tomorrow you have a proposal that is pushed by the foundation to the community to accept an economical upgrade to EGLD because XYZ problems, and with this economical upgrade, XYZ problems will be solved, and therefore helping your investment, and after reading the problems and reading the solutions, you're convinced or not, you will be able to vote. So they're doing this to serve your investment, because guess what? They also have EGLD. So they are also vested in this adventure, same as you, same as all of us. So when they propose this, it's because they most likely have foreseen ways to better the investment and the value of EGLD.
Davey?
Yeah, like firstly, like you said, because you're smarter than people, like I think that is offensive and is not the best way to phrase it. Like simply, it makes sense that since we work on this and we like I read a lot of white papers. I like, for example, on Solana there was a new proposal. I spent probably like 10 hours of spaces on X, and also I talked with some developers on Solana. Like
And
I
it was
spent a lot of time on
rejected.
that, and it was something very similar.
And it
Uh,
was
what
rejected.
and it wasn't accepted by the governance vote, and it was the opposite, so they wanted to decrease inflation. The point is, firstly, all this discussion is in hypothetical, so the team said that they're not going to increase the supply, but let's say that we want anyway to discuss this.
Just before Davey, sorry to interrupt. Can you share the link of the post of Robert Sassou, because you mentioned a discussion? It's on X. It's public or it's something private, just to be sure.
It was a Nix reply.
Okay, so if you find the post and you can share the link, I can share it to the audience, because it's an important take. So if you have time, please share it, or I will try to find it myself. So go ahead.
Yeah, so it's in hypothetical, because from what I've seen in the replies, the team said that they're not going to increase the supply. So, but let's say that we still want to talk about this, because I think that it may be extremely helpful in the future, because we'll need to make some bold decisions in the future, maybe not in the supply, but in something else. And the point is, what are we investing into? We are investing into ecosystems that are decentralized and where no central authority, no central entity can decide arbitrarily to change things. So if MultiversX Foundation, if Benjamin Minku tomorrow morning wakes up and says, okay, I want to mint 10 million more EGLD, it can do that. This is really important. I can't stress enough on the need for a lot of people in the community to study more what they're investing into, because otherwise they have bad expectations, they don't understand what is proposed, they don't understand the dynamics. Because when I see people saying, oh, the foundation is saying that there is supply, I'm going to disinvest, you are part of a decentralized ecosystem. If you don't want that, and the majority of people don't want that, it's simply one of the many actors in this decentralized ecosystem that propose a thing, and the other player says, no, I don't like this, it'll not go through. And that's it. And like we need to think more in a decentralized way. And also you can, like I see also users that go around and shield MultiversX as, okay, is there a centralized network? I hate Solana because it's centralized. But then when there's the time to prove yourself that you really believe in MultiversX being decentralized, or at least a wannabe decentralized network, you don't act as if it were a decentralized network. It's really important. Like if we can change something, if you disagree with something in the ecosystem, even with the foundation, if you think, okay, what they're doing with Andromeda is not great, you can go to as many validators as you want, you can reach a majority, and even if Benjamin Minku doesn't agree with this change, even if Robert Sazu doesn't agree with this change, if you convince validators to change a thing and to make a different proposal, they can't stop that. They can, literally. It's basically what we are investing into. It's really important to understand this. Also, because once you understand this, you understand the importance of contributing to a decentralized network. The more we get decentralized, the more it's important for the community to understand these dynamics, to contribute, and to get themselves heard.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Davey.
I can't find the tweet of Robert talking about
I saw in your eyes, I saw the feeds going.
No, it's important because
Ask Grok.
not because I don't trust, of course, but
You should ask Grok.
who Grok? No, because I went to search Robert Sasu with the word supply and I haven't found it. So anyway, if someone find the post of Robert Sasu saying that they will not increase the supply, it's an important take. Yeah, but as you said, guys, because on this we all agree, nobody officially said that the supply will increase, and that's why the title of this sequence is towards an increase in the supply of EGLD interrogation dot. Okay, so no problem, but it's interesting to speak about it because sometimes making hypothesis is not irrelevant.
Jerem, there is
Yeah.
MBM. MBM has wrote exactly. Thank you.
Can you
So-
read for the
Yes,
podcasters?
so
Yes.
I agree. So MBM has wrote, I agree. And thanks MBM for participating that much, by the way. I agree that there's problems, etc. But we have to keep in mind that MVX is playing in an open, highly competitive market. And I think that changing the supply on the fly will give an unserious image. Let me answer to this, because
And
maybe
maybe at the end, but we'll see after all, time will tell. So he is pretty much careful.
But it's not time that will tell. And again, it is not, maybe Davey explained it, and I will try to explain it in another way. If this happens, it is because the network, meaning the community, all of us, the validators, the foundation, everybody who owns a bit of EGLD has accepted to a majority to go through this economic change. So it is not MultiversX changing the supply on the fly. It is not possible. It will have to go through a vote, and people will have a say, exactly similar to the Solana proposal that was denied. So it will not be a MultiversX decision. It will be a network decision.
You know what? On this, I would like to tell you what I think. You are right that it would go through the DAO, but we know, let's be serious, that if they propose the increase of the supply with many arguments anyway, you know what, and maybe it will be great and relevant argument and so on, if it's approved by the DAO, but the community that is maybe not the more weighted in the vote, if the community don't understand,
the DAO is the community.
No, I mean, the DAO is about the whales, is about who is holding the EGLD, and it's mostly staking providers, the foundation, and the whales.
You think Solana is different?
I'm not talking about Solana. We are on GM
different.
MultiversX.
So what you're saying is,
let me just finish my
Solana. What I see where you're going. You're saying it's a banana republic, basically. And,
no, let me just finish my sentence, and you will see where I want to go and where I want us to go together. So, if the DAO says okay, but the community don't understand or don't approve, or maybe the communication and the marketing is well done enough, so there is a consensus in the community, it can create a definitive cliff between the foundation and the DAO and so on, and the noisy and present and maybe not rich community that has been here on MultiversX for years now.
Bro, you need to work for the Canard Enchaîné, for fuck's sake.
Why?
You're a real media guy. It's like,
why?
Because you're hunting for the headline here.
A headline?
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm absolutely not with you on this. I am part of the community. I have EGLD. I will vote. And trust me, if I am convinced that the economical changes are not good for the network as a whole, I will voice my concerns on X, similar to multiple people who can do it, and the voice of all those people, if they agree, this voice will be heard. And similar to what happened on Solana when the proposal was denied, proposal can be denied on MultiversX too. If you're not convinced about this, then of course it means we don't hold enough decentralization. That's another conversation to have, and it would absolutely be dangerous.
Because for now, on the DAO, the only votes that was submitted was about like slight upgrade, Spica. So it's technical. Nobody understood it. Nobody understand. Everybody says yes because it. You know what I mean? Let's be clear. And it's okay because it's technological. It's a upgrade. Dynamic NFTs and so on. So, okay, it's good, no problem. But this vote about the increase of the EGLD will become political. So that's why I'm saying, and it's not about making polemic about everything. It's about anticipating that if the communication, the education, and all the resources to make it understand to the community will be very important, because getting a yes
First place,
DAO, just to finish, getting a yes through the DAO will not be difficult. We know it. It's pretty much centralized. Okay, it's normal. And you know what? It's the same everywhere. No problem. But
this economical upgrade, as it was pitched and presented, it has been presented as a process that will last a long time, discussions between the network, so the community, the foundation, etc., etc. So I would say that this process will take months.
Okay.
And after a few months, there will be a proposal, and most likely what will be in this proposal will be the result of all the discussions that would have happened for months.
No problem. So that's my take. It's just a risk, because it would not be the first time that MultiversX is not perfect in terms of communication and marketing. This thing would be a critical thing for the foundation and the community. But I hope that everything will be done, not perfectly, because nothing is perfect, but in a good way. So take time, educate, and try to convince the community and to educate the community, because like we said before, intuitively, the increase of the supply is not something good for the majority of the community. So we'll try and here on GM Web3, we will speak about it for weeks if it happens, and we'll try to receive as many people as possible to explain what can be the advantage, what can be the benefit, what can be the risk, and so on. So everybody here has its role to play in such critical question. That's my point. So, it's not canard enchaîné. It's just a risk that the foundation must be aware of, but I'm sure they are.
The foundation is an actor of the network, and the more the network grows and the older it gets, the less the foundation has impact in it, because the more EGLD gets accumulated elsewhere. It is also a good thing when the foundation is selling their EGLD. They're also selling it, and the supply is getting more decentralized. So
it's you know what? Let's talk about it next week, okay? Guys, it was great, like always. Thank you very much, Arno. Thank you very much, Davey, for coming every Wednesday to challenge and to accept to discuss about the topics the community and I want to speak about. Wish you all the best. See you next Wednesday for a new GM Web3 MultiversX. And thank you to the sponsors, Hatom and EAPS. Thank you again, guys. And Have a very good day. Thank you, Davey. Thank you, Arno.
Have a good day, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening to us.
Bye, guys.